Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Conversations with Anne-Marie. I am Anne-Marie, the Art of Healing. Thank you for coming back. I took a little time off to travel the world and enjoy myself. And today I'm so excited to have a young gentleman on the podcast that I've been intrigued with about his story for about a year now. And I was to have him a little bit while back, but he had an incredible lovely event happen in his life, so he took some time off, but now he's here. His name is Shamballa Mario. That is the name he goes by, and he is an intuitive astrologer. He also is a sacred space holder, which I think is beautiful. What a needed thing, and he can talk about that if he chooses to. And he just started a nonprofit with his beloved in North Carolina, and he's going to talk about that too. But without further ado, I will introduce Shamballa Mario to Conversations with Anne-Marie. And so welcome, Mario.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. And it's a pleasure to meet you and to get to know you more here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. So I did hear your story on the internet about your very, very fascinating life. And I just had to talk to you. First of all, I love young people when they are kind of waking up to the truth and everything. So, can you tell us a little bit about when you began to kind of question your reality and what kind of experiences did you have?
I'd always questioned my reality
Oh,
as
good.
a child. From the beginning as a child, I was always in deep contemplative thought, reflecting my reality, even as a small child, because I chose to incarnate into a family with great dysfunction and pain within, the genetic trauma. So I can, as a, starseed being, inherit this trauma, this pain within this family, unit and heal it. And as a child, we have amnesia, we forget who we are, but at on a soul level, growing up with this great dysfunction with parents who are addicts and gang members out in LA, like super ghetto stuff. I just knew deep down that this isn't right, that this isn't normal, that this is disharmony, that this isn't the original blueprint in
Yeah.
human behavior, in human reaction. So even as a kid, just because of the chaos I witnessed in the dysfunction of my home and the dysfunction of my city of Los Angeles, because of that, I was always questioning my reality. Like, what is this? Why are we behaving this way? What's going on?
Mm.
And then eventually, you know, uh, in my teenage years, I sort of surrendered and decided to become a product of my environment and started using crystal meth as a teenager, meth
Wow.
as a teenager in the streets of Los Angeles for over 3 years. And when I was getting off meth, no one in my family knew that I was struggling like this. So I just kind of quit cold turkey and I had major trust issues. So I knew I needed something to heal what felt like a black hole in my heart. And that's when I came across astrology and other esoteric studies, and I just dove really deep into it. And I was 17 at that time. So for since I was 17, I'm 33 now, so I don't know how many 16 years of actively seeking and growing and going through a lot of different stages of of expanding my consciousness. So yeah, I've always been contemplative of things, and I've gone through a lot of intense cycles in my life that just kind of threw me into deep trenches of the unconscious shadow of society and the unconscious aspects of human nature, and how, eventually everything led up to this big moment where everything that I was seeking was finally shown to me, and it was far more than what I was actually seeking. Because what I originally started seeking at age 17, coming off meth, was to um, educate myself on a number of different things so I can understand the dysfunction in my family, so I could understand how I could help mom and dad heal from their pain. And as a result of seeking and learning and studying and going through a lot of different transformations, by the time I reached 26 years old, I had a massive awakening in finally understanding that dysfunction. And that dysfunction is just another a product that is duplicated everywhere. So, it showed me that this isn't just my family, that this is part of a greater spiritual war. And there's all kinds of energies and negative programs in a false inverted matrix that nearly everyone is agenda wounded in some way, and they just perpetuate the distorted disharmony. And as a result, we have many, many families and generations that are experiencing this trauma and these cycles. And so this is my mission. This is many of our missions, is to be born in these lower vibrations and hopefully survive to the point where we can remember and end the cycles and the karma and the curses and the old beliefs. And, I have that information from my mother's blood and my father's blood in this body as a multidimensional soul being. And now I get to change the course of where this energy continues to propagate. So yeah, that's it. That's that right there.
All right, that's beautiful. And you started out in Los Angeles, and did you end up moving to other
hmm
locations? Where did you go to
hmm
next?
So my family moved to Oregon. My father
Oh,
moved to Oregon, and that's when I moved up there with him, is when I was getting off methamphetamines and beginning my healing journey. So I moved out of the concrete jungle and moved into the woods, So it
mhm.
was a completely different environment, and that was the beginning of, me really connecting to nature, healing on a deeper level, and then of course going through the different stages of an adolescent male maturing and developing, with hormones and all that kind of stuff. So not perfect, lived through all spectrums of the human expression to just become more conscious of self, more aware of self.
Right, right. And this, your astrology, it just helped you. You kept doing it, I guess. You got more and more
Yeah,
intuitive
yeah.
knowledge with that.
uh, I never stopped with astrology. So when I started studying astrology at age 17, I had eventually understood that I've always been in tuned with the stars, because growing up, I had my own analysis of noticing that the behavior in my household and like the behavior at school, we everybody would have different modes of expression on Christmas versus Easter versus the summertime versus winter. I was noticing different ways in how I felt and how things were going. And once I started studying astrology, I understood that what I was doing was just paying attention to the natural cycles,
Right.
the eclipses, the equinoxes, recognizing retrogrades before even knowing what a Mercury retrograde was. So I'm naturally connected to paying attention to cycles, behaviors, subtle, unseen energies. And once I found astrology, I understood that this is the language to help me interpret what I'm already naturally tapped into. So I never stopped studying astrology, and astrology has been my everyday living and breathing and perceiving it and speaking it since 2007. So almost 2 decades. And I've only come out as a professional astrologer providing services to people in the last couple of years. So for most of this time, it was just for me and my own journey. So when you're living and breathing astrology every day and looking at what's happening in the charts and understanding the textbook definition of what that means, and then seeing it play out in your reality, you know, over time it just becomes a sixth sense in a way. And I have my own unique style of interpreting and channeling intuitively how certain transits or things in the charts, could mean. Yeah.
Well, personally, in my life, the past 3 weeks have been, I mean, one of the most intense dives dark that I've had in quite a long time. Is there anything matching up in in the astrological that would kind of like confirm this kind of dip in my just my state of being, really?
Yeah. Well, there's I got a message and it's 2:22
I
right as
love
we
it. Yes,
go into that.
that's it.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things. The main thing pertaining to like what you just expressed is the South Node has been in Scorpio,
Mhm.
and every generation within the different decades, going all the way back to the 60s, we have different prominent Scorpio placements. So you're part of the Neptune Scorpio generation in the 60s. Then in the 70s, people were born with the Uranus in Scorpio placement. Then going into the 80s, into the mid 90s, we have the Pluto Scorpio people. So, and then of course, people have Saturn in Scorpio and other personal planets in Scorpio. But these three big ones are generational, massive Scorpio placements. And the transiting South Node since last year of January has been in Scorpio. So there have been Scorpio eclipses taking place since January of last year. And so the South Node in Scorpio has been crossing over through multiple generations, different Scorpio placements that contribute to generational and societal influences and structures and resources, and unconscious hidden energies. So, the Neptune and Scorpio folks, such as yourself, are born with this powerful, penetrating psychic perception. Very intuitive people, very, very, very psychic. Like my father is born with and my mother, they're born with this Neptune and Scorpio, and they have a undeniable sixth sense to them of calling out bullshit. They're like, I don't know,
I said that's what made me a good teacher, because I could look at the kids and go,
hmm hmm
nah.
hmm
Yeah, I got
as
that.
something
Yeah.
my father would always say, as a kid trying to hide things from him. You think I'm stupid? You think I'm stupid? Like, I know, I can tell, I can see it.
Very true.
So, Neptune and Scorpio folks, they are born with this intense psychic perception. And there are both positive and negative aspects to how the power of Scorpio energy can be experienced.
Yeah.
You yourself are a sun Scorpio, so you understand this.
Mhm.
Um, so the South Node has been working with your Neptune in Scorpio and your Sun in Scorpio. And then there's the folks that are born with Uranus in Scorpio, and these people are here to disrupt and bring radical change by revealing unconscious energies, unconscious shadow energies within that are hidden, that are just unacknowledged, and then there's my generation with the Pluto and Scorpio, and the Pluto and Scorpio generation are here to just destroy all impurities, to just destroy authority, all kinds of things. So, which is why, as my age demographic, it's the largest demographic around right now. This is why there's a big fuck it attitude in tearing down all the systems, fuck the banks, fuck the police. And it's it's being expressed in a number of different ways, but it's that Pluto and Scorpio influence that wants to destroy what is impure, what is kept hidden, what is secret, and all of that. So the South Node, the transiting South Node since January of last year, with the eclipses, the South Node represents the accumulation of karma, the accumulation of energy from past life experiences. And this is both karma and experiences on the positive and negative spectrum. And the South Node, transiting over one's planet, especially in Scorpio, what this is it creates an opening for the more shadow aspects of what the energy, what the planet is being crossed over with Neptune, to come out at this moment. And so for the South Node in Scorpio to cross over someone's Neptune in Scorpio, this could bring up, so Neptune is a really tricky planet. Neptune has the ability to gift one with powerful psychic and imaginative abilities, but also within it contains the vibrations of confusion and escapism. So it's
You just said the word escapism. That's how I was feeling. I just wanted to run away. I felt like, wow, you tapped right into that one. Yeah. Now, were there any, the way I kind of think of it as like closer influences, like Mercury going into retrograde, or I understand there was an eclipse. There was,
yeah.
full moon.
Well, the eclipse that happened on Cinco de Mayo, May 5th, happened on your sun sign in Scorpio. So I was looking at your chart, and your sun is in Scorpio at 14 degrees. Your Mercury is in Scorpio. You have a Mercury retrograde in Scorpio at 2 degrees behind the sun. So right now the South Node is conjuncting your Mercury, and just 2 weeks ago that full moon eclipse in Scorpio took place on your 14-degree Scorpio sun. So you definitely are likely experiencing a hangover period after this eclipse, and rightly so, after any kind of new moon or full moon, Scorpio full moon. For the collective, there has to be some shadow work and integration done afterwards, because Scorpio is the taboo, darker, unconscious, psychological, self-sabotaging behaviors. Scorpio is the sign. I love Scorpio energy. I'm a Scorpio rising, Pluto Scorpio generation. I really understand this archetype. So Scorpio has the longest list of negative characteristics, and the reason why they have the longest list of negative characteristics is because Scorpio is an archetypal energy that contains the technology of transformation, of death, rebirth, and transformation, because the result is to create a vibration and that is authentic and pure. And in order to do that, Scorpio takes on the difficult responsibility of going to the underworld and becoming conscious of what is unconscious in human nature, so it can be purified and transformed. And each time we are doing this and purifying and transforming something that was unconscious, and we're now making it conscious, the ego goes through a death and rebirthing process that results in a transformation in who we are, how we identify ourselves, and how we personify our energy, becoming more pure and authentic. Um, so this eclipse period has really been doing, this whole past 18 months has really been activating Scorpio placements, to do this kind of shadow work, to become more pure in their vibration and to heal these energies. And what's very intense about it is, the South Node represents the accumulation of karma from the past. So things are even coming up for us to have to process and purify and transform, that are coming from previous lifetimes as well. And the other thing that's complicated about it is Scorpio is one of the most absorbent signs. Scorpio will absorb all the energy. So, like a tourmaline crystal will absorb all the negative energy and transmute it. Scorpio is like a tourmaline crystal. Well, it just absorbs, and often scorpionic energy has the difficulties recognizing the boundaries. So we also absorb negative energies on a collective scale. So everybody is having to transmute, impurities and shadow aspects, both in their interpersonal lives that connects to past experience, and as well everything that they've absorbed that's traumatizing and distorted in the outer world that we've experienced. So it's a very challenging and profound healing period right now, that can feel, like a just like a darker period of wanting to hide or whatever, or just feeling low. And, opposite of the South Node is the North Node in Taurus. So throughout this whole time, the North Node has been in Taurus, accompanied by Uranus in Taurus. And now Jupiter is in Taurus. And today, right now, is the new moon in Taurus. So, Taurus and Scorpio, they're both opposites of each other. And within their axis is, the money channels. Scorpio, Taurus is the archetypal energy that produces things of value, that creates material wealth. Taurus is, the symbol for Taurus is the bull. And if you really consider a bull, get rid of all your ideas of veganism and animals and stuff like that. But if you really look at the bull is a symbol of great wealth in itself. If you're a farmer, in the bull you have meat, you have fats, you have butter, you have milk, you have hide, you have vitamins in the bone marrow. Every single part of a bull is so rich in nutrients and life force and vitality that can feed families for a whole season. That's an amazing thing of value. It's an amazing product of value. So that's one of the reasons I see why the ancients chose the symbol for Taurus as the bull. It's just money. The bull is pure money. If you have a cow, you have thousands of dollars that you can produce from one cow.
So do you believe the powers that were understood that, and that's why we call it a bull market, and there's a bull on Wall Street?
Yeah,
They
that's
got it.
exactly why
Yeah.
I believe they called it that. So then, you know, Taurus is this, right? Is this cow that's basically gold, the golden calf.
Yeah.
Opposite opposite of Taurus is Scorpio. So Scorpio is the bank. Scorpio is, how do we take this product of value and distribute it? One of my astrologers that I admire and call a friend, the peace dealer. You know, the way he explains Scorpio is, Scorpio is the ticket master.
Hmm.
So his analogy is that Taurus is the movie producer. Taurus has the money, the land, the material to actually fund the production of a movie. And then Scorpio is the energy that manages how it's going to be previewed, what kind of market it's going to attract, taking the money from the people and giving them a ticket and accumulating all that wealth so it could be distributed later to, its proper order. So Taurus and Scorpio are both, products, value, money, and then shared resources and how that's distributed right now. So I'm saying all this because in the South Node in Scorpio is bringing up this lower energy, right? This shadow work energy of things having to come up and feel a certain way, wanting to run and hide, or just shit coming up for us to feel and experience that's not entirely blissful.
Right.
And the reason is because we need to purify more in our authentic expression, in our vibration, and emanate a sense of abundance and wealth from a place of authentic confidence, knowingness, and true integrated value of who you are and nothing else. You know,
The
not
question,
having,
sorry, the question I wanted to ask you was when we find ourselves in these periods of, working on the shadow, what is your suggestion for people to do? I mean,
oh,
when I went through mine, I just listened to really high vibe channelings, to, things that I knew would lift me up vibrationally and energetically, and kind of like pull me up out of the, kind of the
yeah.
darkness. But what do you suggest?
I would suggest the same thing, things that help you, that basically hold your hand and walk you out of a bad mood into a better mood. Um, and with the amount of Taurus energy that's going on right now, and Uranus being in Taurus, the body is really activated in a big way. And so it's important to ground right now in nature. We're soon going to move into Gemini season, so the pace is about to pick up a lot once we start Gemini season by the end of this weekend.
Right.
And in a couple hours, the moon's going to go into Gemini. So grounding, feet on the earth, connecting to the soil, smelling flowers, pretty much what a cow would do or what a bull would do, be very slow, not in the rush of doing anything, because you're coming from a place of really standing firm in your value. You know that you're a cow and people look at you like gold. And so no one's no one's going to hurt you or harm you or anything like that, because you produce liquid gold from your udders. Everybody has nothing but respect and appreciation for you. Even if you're not seeing it, you want to emanate that confidence as if that is in your reality, even if you're not
Right.
seeing it. So I suggest to, as always, like, journal, listen to music, go out on a walk. It's really important to be physically active in the body right now, because Taurus is the body as well. So you want to eat very nourishing foods, ground on the earth, um, do some yoga, some martial arts or weightlifting, something that helps you tap into your inner power, so it's like you not exert yourself to exhaustion, but you want to, like, I got a punching bag, and so what I've been doing a lot is really, like, bringing in strength and power from within, and just channeling that energy in my body with my hand-eye coordination and throwing a proper punch. Because if you don't throw a proper punch, you can sprain your wrist, you can dislocate an elbow, you can injure yourself. And so in order to properly, being able to summon your power and throw a punch, channeling all that energy into something, you have to first develop the neurological pathways into the muscle, and that begins with moving slowly, moving and breathing slowly. So even if I'm just looking at the punching bag and I throw one punch that is very intentional in every motion with the breath, that's okay, because then eventually that's going to be integrated and turn into true strength, true power that's integrated, and then I'd be able to, really throw, an excellent punch. So that is a great thing to do for everybody right now, that will help with the moving of everything else that's happening. You don't have to actively, sit and write what you're feeling and burn a letter. You could do that. That always works. You could do that. But what I believe in this moment, what's going to help more than anything is physical activity outside in nature, skin to the earth, skin to the dirt, in the water. Yeah.
Wonderful. That is really beautiful. I've often I also believe that it's cyclical, right? So
Mm-hmm.
and also our guidance arranges things to bring it to our attention of what we still hold within us, the miscreative thoughts that we hold, and then we go through these kind of darker times only to come out into the sunshine, and
Mm-hmm.
continue to go upwards and upwards. I just had a study group for A Course in Miracles, which is my spiritual practice, and we talked about how it's a cyclical thing, but it's also like a corkscrew. Like you're going upwards. You're not just trapped in like one circle, and you're getting the darkness revealed, healed, and then the deeper darkness is still there. So something's going to come up. It'll bring it up to the surface. You heal it, and so on and so on. And that's kind of how I see things as coming. You also mentioned something
Yeah.
very interesting that happened to me last week. We
Mm-hmm.
talked about wanting to do something, but then when you let spirit take over, it kind of happens even better than you ever thought. Something like
Mm-hmm.
that just happened to me last week. I came back from Norway. I was telling you I went to Norway and with my spiritual community, and I came back wanting to accomplish two things. I have this nice camper that I got last year, but I want to upgrade it because I want to start using it, and it doesn't suit my needs. I kind of bought it because I needed it for the moment. Anyway, I tried and tried and tried
Mm-hmm.
to. I went over to Camping World. I was like, okay, I want to trade this in, and I want something like this. I want something like this, and it just fell apart because it was just too expensive, and I wasn't going to do it. So I was like, okay, I just let it go. And then, like 2 days later, I get the circular, and they have a camper, the same make and model, the same size as what I have, but exactly what I'm looking for. And it was so cheap, and they were going to take 10,000 as a
Nice.
trade-in. And I was like, all right, I'm doing it. So
Awesome.
it's like,
Awesome.
and I just made a video about this. It's just when we create, we start with the intention, we start with our dreams, right? We start with what we
Mm-hmm.
desire. And then
Mm-hmm.
we think, I need to take over and I need to make it happen. In some ways, yeah, that's important to do. But in other ways, we need to understand that the universe wants us to be happy. The universe knows us better than we know ourselves. And so they want to provide this love for us, right? They want to provide everything that we've ever desired,
Mm-hmm.
which is something that I think you experienced just recently. Isn't that true?
Yeah. Well, I want to respond to everything that you said, because that's that's a really great example to, starting with how everything's cyclical, but it's cyclical in, a spiral that's moving in different stages, and stages that only go to, the next octave up, the next harmony up. And part of why this cycle is of, going into the depths and coming back out into the sunlight and all that is so this cycle period is bringing us up to the higher level of being that much more efficient and fast at manifesting, you
Mm,
know? by and manifesting in a way of understanding that I don't have to like obsessive it so much. I just need to emanate that desire and that want from within and let it go. And the universe and my infinite powers that I don't have to see will bring me in alignment to make it happen. And I live in this place of knowingness and trusting and confidence. And just from this emanating place, so that's what this pattern is so that way those of us who, are here and are understanding this and doing the work and going with the motions with it and growing through it, we are on the other side where we are realizing, wow, there really isn't a big deal for me to be afraid or fuss because I live in abundance. And looking back, I'm seeing just how real my manifestation abilities are. And I need to move into confidence with that
Right.
and really, really, really put it to the test and really, really push it. I need to think bigger. I need to dream bigger, and in that process of thinking and dreaming bigger, also shines the light in what corners of your life that won't match
Right.
that next level you want to manifest for yourself. And then that begins the understanding of what next within yourself has to grow and develop to match that new bigger desire that we're all moving towards. And it's
Right.
going to happen because this previous cycle that we're ending now has really refined our manifesting abilities much more efficiently and rapidly.
Mm-hmm. And also you have to be in alignment with yourself. You have to
Exactly.
you have to know yourself and you have to be in alignment with it. And a lot of times we're out of alignment because we're our boss won't let us do that, or what would mom say, or no, I can't do that. Limiting beliefs that we hold about ourselves. If we remove all these limiting beliefs and understand that the more we resist, the more everything it'll be difficult for us. So if we lift those limiting beliefs off of us and stand in grace and in security, then we can move forward and be these manifestors. I get it. I've done it in so many different ways in my life, and it's just it's so true, and it's amazing. It's amazing. Thank you so very much. Have you kind of like closed that out? Because I kind of want to move on to a little bit
Yeah. Let's
different.
move on. Yeah.
All right, great. So as a segue to this, I always enjoy to hear, the hero's journey and kind of where you come from and where you are now. And I bring that up because we should have talked about a month ago, but you were going through something. And I'd love to hear your explanation of this beautiful journey that you have been on.
Yeah. So, I just moved to North Carolina from California. And yeah, a month ago, I was busy, really approaching to a lot of the things that I've been working to manifest. And now I'm here, I've arrived. You were talking about the hero's journey. Are you talking like, because I know I've shared in the past that you're aware of me experiencing a number of different health crises.
Yes.
You want me to go there and talk about that journey and
Yeah,
overcoming
I'd
that,
love you
or
to talk about that. And I'd love you to talk about really, this new life that you have, because
yeah.
while the past is important, it creates who we are now. And I think what you have created for yourself and for your beloved, for your partner, I've seen some things that you've posted about this, and I just would love to hear. Why don't we just talk about that?
Yeah.
Because I think
Well,
that's
I can
relevant.
go a little bit back and forth in there.
Yeah,
Cool. No problem.
please. Thank you.
Well, yeah, where I'm at now is a result of the hero's journey of going through the whole cycle and arriving. Right now, my partner and I, we've just started a nonprofit out here in North Carolina. And the nonprofit is intended to provide discounted or pro bono services to the youth, more around the teenage years. And we are going to be offering alternative medicine such as acupuncture, hypnotherapy, Chinese medicine. My partner is a Chinese herbalist,
Nice.
and I'm a hypnotherapist. And then also, keep a safe and sacred space for youth to come in and learn more about themselves on a deeper level with astrology and human design. Um, so, that's something new that we're building right now together. And, you know, to arrive here, I had no idea that I would be 3 years ago. If you were to ask me 3 years ago, what would I be doing in 3 years? This is not what I would have thought. Exactly 3 years ago, I was living in an apartment in Oregon that I had been renting out for like 5 years. I had a good job. It took a lot of work to build this career as a community organizer. 3 years ago, on this day, I was dealing with medical treatment for brain tumors. One was right here on my pituitary, and it was hijacking my endocrine systems and the way my hormone and chemistry was operating. And that was really difficult. And even prior, before being diagnosed with the brain tumors, I had a stroke. And then prior to the stroke, I had been hit by cars while riding a bicycle on 3 different occasions. So for a number of years, it was like wham, 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 a lot of different things happening that felt like beyond my control. And, I went through a lot of turbulence for a while in my early mid 20s. And I leveled it out to this point of having a good purposeful job for a nonprofit that is a nature conservation project, and beautiful work that they do protecting one of the most precious rivers in the world, the Columbia River. um, and sort of feeling okay. I was complacent. It's complacent and content. I had the job that I wanted that gave me the salary that I wanted. I had my apartments. I had the girlfriend that I had back then. And I had the job that gave me the health insurance that made me feel safe and secure, because I had gone through these intense medical situations where I now felt that I needed to be, insured and close to my doctors, and I need their wisdom and their medications to help me, or otherwise I could die, because I don't know, I have tumors and I don't want another stroke. So it sort of beat me down to this docile place. And the end result was me realizing that the reality I had created for myself was a reality that was not true. It was from fear and surviving, and I'm not living in my power and living in what I actually believe. And what I actually believe is that everything that's happening to me is from an energetic source, and I have the power to heal myself. What I need to do is change my story. And I don't need these doctors. I don't need these medications. What I need to do is embody my truth. And 2020 came around. It was not, COVID was not a drill. It was all hands on deck. This is not a drill. So it's time to really embody who you are and start stepping more into your mission. And that was the green light to be deployed. And so I did a radical transformation and walked away from my career that took me 5 years to build, while going through intense medical crisis situations. Left a partner who was not the right partner for me. I was going through treatment for brain tumors, and she was having affairs with 3 people. So it's like, you know, but there's no blame to her. I understood that it's me, because I'm coming from a place of not truly valuing myself. I'm coming from this place of being a victim and being afraid of the uncertainty due to what has been happening to my reality, and understanding that everything, the good and the bad, is because I'm not in my power. I am afraid. And somewhere there are back doors where energies are coming in, and I am consenting to the to what's being created in my reality. and it changed the way I looked at everything. You know, I look at I was looking at my apartment and it was like, this is a binding spell. You know, I signed a lease to this place and now I'm in a binding spell in this apartment, in this place that is not in harmony with what I'm actually supposed to be doing. And I'm showing up to this job, but this job is actually something that's mostly satisfying my ego instead of satisfying my soul. It's satisfying my ego thinking that I'm doing something correct and righteous in the world, protecting the water. You know, this job will still be here and somebody will still be here filling my position. If I walk away, I'm not going to be the saving grace of this organization or this river, you know. So, you know, and really seeing the truth in all the aspects of my reality and radically transforming it and moving away from it. And I moved all the way from Oregon to Arkansas to experience a different series of very short period intense experiences, but those intense experiences were a part of my deployment to activate my training that has been happening internally for decades. You know, because COVID and everything that was happening, you know, this is it. This is not a drill. You know, the four deadly horsemen are here. You know, we are now in war, famine, pestilence, and death. You know, this
Right.
is it. This is the apocalypse, and you know, fuck everything else. Like I need to step into this path. I need to step into
Right.
this role.
It was a
You
catalyst
know,
for
and
so many people.
so many people.
Huge catalyst. Huge
Mhm,
catalyst. Um, I want to just put a little comment. You know, when we are being prepared to kind of flourish in our true selves, it's not going to be a happy little trek. We are going to be
mhm,
challenged along the way,
mhm,
and that's just, you
mhm,
know, you could say purification by fire, because
mhm,
we have to go through these. And
mhm,
I say it about my own journey. It's like, and even like, even if you have the flu, let's just say you have the flu, you're going to feel crappy before you feel better. But once you
mhm,
get on the other side, your body has built up antibodies and it's got, you know, things that's going to protect you the next go around. So it's,
mhm,
you know, your story, what you're saying is right in line with,
mhm,
you know, what I believe and what I've been saying for a while. So,
mhm,
all right. So
mhm.
you're in Arkansas. Keep
Yeah.
going.
You know, I was out there for a while. I spent about 5, 6 months out there. Because you know, once moving away, then it was me consciously catching up to what my higher self and guides have been conditioning me in the dream states from the years prior, you know. So now it was just this uh you know, a period of a couple of years of following the synchronicities and arriving to places and spaces that were triggering dreams and conditioning through the dream states from the past, only to realize that I have already been here before energetically, that I have already been debriefed of the dynamics of where I'm at now energetically years prior while I was going through my intense medical crises. So, you know, and you know, I followed this train of synchronicities for about 2 years until I arrived, you know. So I need to tell you this little side tangent real quick is I had a year about COVID, exactly 1 year before COVID happened. So and I've told many people about this. I even wrote it down exactly 1 year before COVID. So January in 2019, I had a dream that I was being dropped into a timeline situation. And as I'm being dropped, I'm getting the energetic briefing on the timeline I'm jumping into. And the briefing was that I'm in a post-apocalyptic world that became post-apocalyptic because a controlled virus broke out, and the virus and the vaccine, everything that was intended in an agenda, it just all like everything just went to shit. And so all structures, banks, military, government, they just all crumbled. And I was being dropped in this timeline where it was just people surviving in tribes, and unfortunately, in this timeline, most of humanity they went insane. They lost their humanity, and so they were just violent,
Mm.
vicious, and so I'm being dropped into this timeline, and I'm on this land here, and I remember there was a barn, and I'm with these people, and we're having a fire, and I get this telepathic communication from my guides that tell me I need to go on a solo trip out into the woods to retrieve a magical item. And they told me that I will know what the item is when I see it. So, I get this download and I say, okay, loud and clear. And I tell my group that I'm with, hey, I need to leave and go on this quest and retrieve this item. And as I'm leaving our camp, that's when I noticed that we had built a massive barricade around our camp of thousands of bicycles that are just stacked really high, and a big, big, thick wall of bicycles. And I remember having this cognitive thought in the dream as I'm approaching our barricade saying, that makes sense, actually. Like, try climbing over that. You'd have a difficult time climbing over that. Just thousands of bikes just sandwiched in with each other, pedals in the wheels and everything. So we had a crawl space to crawl through in and out of it, and I'm crawling through, and there was a moment where I'm halfway through the barricade where I realized that there are tons of black widow spiders crawling on my body, and instead of panicking, I closed my eyes to take a deep breath in. And then on the exhale, with my eyes closed in the dream, on the exhale, my consciousness suddenly leaves where I was in that moment, and I'm in the space of no thing, the dark womb of no thing, where all creation is then birthed from. So
Mm.
I'm in the space of no thing, the void, and I sense another intelligence there, and it's a plasma body, and my plasma body, and our plasma bodies come together, and this plasma body, as it was coming closer, was forming geometric shapes of a spider, and it was a spider energy,
Ooh.
and it connected with my consciousness, and the being told me, I'm great grandmother spider. What you are experiencing is true telepathic communications. Our consciousness are completely melded together. This is true telepathy. You need to begin tapping in and understanding your telepathic capabilities, because you're moving into a point in reality where your own inner guidance and your own ability to tap into your higher self and your guides will be the only information you can trust, because everything else can be confusing and you're not quite sure, but you need to tap into this so you are guided to where you need to be safely. And then that connection broke, and I'm on the other side of the barricade, and I'm like, that was really fucking weird. And I go back, I go into the woods, I find the magical item. It was a cliche white staff, I come back to my camp, and when I come back to the camp, I see that the crazy people who lost their humanity have found our camp, and they're killing my friends. They're killing the people that I was with. And as I'm witnessing all this gory bloodshed in the dream, I'm shouting no, and as I'm shouting no, I'm doing this, and I remove a headset device, and that entire simulation that I just experienced to you, that entire reality in my dream went like when you turn off a TV. And I was actually on a craft. I was actually on a spacecraft, and there were beings there, tall beings. I couldn't see the beings. I can never see the beings, but I can always sense them, and I can always sense that they're really tall.
Mm.
And I'm there, and I'm like, whoa. And they're like, we wanted to see how you would respond, and what would happen in the simulation. So, like, even though it was a simulation that was created from my own energy and other things that came and interacted with it. So it was very powerful. And then they sent me back, and I woke up. And when I woke up, I typed that whole dream onto Facebook. So I have proof that I dreamt of COVID a year before COVID actually happened. Big side tangent. So now coming back to, I'm following the synchronicities, and what I'm doing is catching up to the downloads and the briefings from dreams prior, like years and years and years of dreams prior, all the way to the point where, I led myself to South Dakota, into the Black Hills. And as I'm in the Black Hills exploring, I'm like, I've been here before. And I'm like, if I'm correct, if I've been here before, if this is the place where I think I am, there's a barn over there. Sure as hell, there was the fucking barn over there.
Oh my goodness.
And so, I was with somebody who was giving me, I was with somebody who's, Lakota indigenous to the
Yeah.
Black Hills. So, I was having sort of like a very private spiritual tour through the Black Hills. And I mentioned to them, I've been here before, and I told them the whole dream, and they're like, I have a place that I need to show you, and, we spent days camping and traveling the Black Hills until the end, where I'm shown this monument out there. I don't know if you've been out into the Black Hills of South Dakota, but in one of the many roads out there in the hills, there's this monument of thousands of bicycles piled on top of each other, making a big wall. And so when I finally arrived to that point and saw that, I literally fell to my knees, because I finally understood what all this shit was about. I finally understood why I'm chasing this energy, why I'm confused, why I'm seeking all this stuff. And it's all me. It's all me. It's all my higher self trying to, little by little expand my consciousness without making me insane, to realize how real we are as powerful soul beings on a multidimensional level, and that this is very serious, and there is a profound spiritual holy war taking place to enslave the consciousness of the people on this planet. And so everything, and then, I had a very accurate telepathic communion with my guides. I have like a whole team in a ship,
Yeah.
and they explained to me, like, everything that you've gone through, even the bad parts, was all us doing what was necessary to get you to this point. And we sorry we had to beat you. We sorry we had to break you and hurt you and put you through so many fucking things, but you made it. You made it. And now the hardest part, the worst part is over. And now you get to live. You get to live in knowing and meeting who you are, and never doubt this power and this understanding again. You are never alone, And then from then on, I knew I was done and I needed to get back home.
Mhm.
So that was a lot right there.
Wow. It's like I'm getting such like it's emotional. I'm feeling it in my body. I mean, this is like something really, wow, really, really profound. Thank you so much for sharing that, boy. I have many, many friends who live in the Black Hills of South Dakota. I mentioned to you earlier, my dear friend Carol Morgan moved there, and she is a Blue Avian sister to Xena, who channels through her. And a lot of them live in Spearfish, South Dakota. So, yeah, fascinating,
Yeah,
beautiful. Wow.
yeah, yeah. A little funny part about all of that is, is a lot of the way I'm throwing a tantrum,
Yeah.
I'm throwing a tantrum, like, I'm fucking tired of this. I want new guides.
Yeah.
Fuck this. Like, why am I always being dragged into these situations? You know what? I want to agree if I want to experience this from here on out. I don't
Seriously.
want to I
How
don't
many
want to
times do
be,
we do that?
I'm done being in a dream spell and, like,
Yes.
fucking falling into these, short video
Oh,
game
yeah,
experiences.
yeah.
I'm done with that. And they're like, yes, 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 you are done with that. But, with being done with that, you are now 10 times more responsible for every action you take. So fucking
Yeah.
be intentional.
Yeah. That is the biggest message. One of the biggest messages that we get from Xena, from the Blue Avians, is that we do not create consciously. We create unconsciously, and we need to stop
Hmm.
it. We need to look
Hmm.
at the wasted, the unconscious creation. So when you wake up
Hmm.
in the
Hmm.
morning, what do you do? Do you give thanks for the good night's sleep? Do you give, glory to the new day? Or do you get your phone and start flicking through Facebook or, and I was like,
Guilty. Guilty.
so I mean,
Guilty. Yep.
I get it, and I'm getting
Hmm.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Me
I'm
too.
getting
Me
there.
too. Me
Yeah.
too. We're in it together.
We are. We so totally are. So at this point, you
Hmm.
went back. Did you go back to Oregon?
No, I went back to California.
Are you in
So,
California? Okay.
yeah. So, that was an intense little side quest that I took to the Dakotas, to the Black Hills.
Mm.
Because what I was doing after Arkansas is I was summoned to be a caretaker for my mother and my grandfather. So my mother was, getting over an addiction and quitting cigarettes, and was diagnosed with this very severe lung condition, COPD. And my grandfather was in his early stages of Parkinson's, and
Oh,
we were all grieving to my aunt that we lost the years prior, who overdosed.
oh,
So, I also had a moment in the road, when I was camping in Utah, in the high deserts. I, I took a hit of acid and was like, I'm gonna go, venture out into the wilds of, the high desert canyons of Utah, run out of water far away from my van, and I'm getting heat stroke, and I'm hiding in the shade under some rocks, and I break down and start crying. And then the presence of my aunt appears, and she's like, do you see how arrogant you are? Do you see how fucking arrogant you are, that we had to that your unconscious and your guides had to bring you to this point of humbling your ass, where you
mm,
could fucking die right now,
mhm.
just so you can have this moment of clarity in knowing what you need to do with yourself at this moment. What the fuck are you doing out here in Utah?
Oh my
Huh?
God.
No one knows. No one even knows where you are. So get back to your van and go home. Your mom needs you. Um,
Oh my goodness.
you know,
Wow.
just being real. Just being honest.
Being real. Mhm.
And so yeah, for a number of years, I've came back home to my mother and started, because I haven't been in her life for 17 years. I have not actively been in her life, and she's just been going, to the whims of her pain and her suffering, and now she's, you know, with this severe health condition, that's eventually going to be, what takes her out. And it's I've taken the responsibility in deviating away her path from a horrible death, and bringing her to the safe space to have a second chance at life. So now, as whatever time she does have left, she's living it with dignity, for her soul, being in a safe place, and removing herself from, the ghetto consciousness of Los Angeles and drugs. And you know even though what she can do for herself is minimal, she's doing more than she's ever done for herself her whole life. So yeah, I've been really busy. And in all that also, I finally met my beloved, the woman I've been seeking this whole time. And we are engaged. Don't have a wedding date yet, but it's all here, it's all happening. And together, we're just ready. We just came at that point where we're both ready. We've had our activations, we've gone through these cycles with other people, and together with where we are, we were just able to manifest very rapidly together. And we have our nonprofit that we're starting out. We're here in this new home, in a completely different environment that's so beautiful and nourishing on all levels. We brought my mother with us, so she's here too. And yeah, just a new higher octave of the cycle beginning all over again, with so much healing that's taking place.
That's it. How beautiful. Well, we are over. We're like, I just saw 14:44. Ah, okay. So
Nice.
yeah, we've been recording for a little bit of time. I think this is a great time to pause, and but I'd love to have you back and maybe continue talking a little bit more about um, just like
Yeah.
astrology and how it does affect everybody, and we don't know it. But yeah,
Hmm.
I've got
Hmm.
lots more questions for you. But
Yeah. Yeah.
what a pleasure! It has been such a pleasure to talk to you, and
Yes.
your experiences are amazing, just absolutely amazing. If somebody wanted to contact you, how would they contact you?
Yeah. You can email me at
I love it.
starseedsalsa@gmail.com. Um,
I
or
love
I know I like it too.
it.
One of my mottos is that my sole purpose is to bring the chips and salsa to the revolution, to the party. You know, why has it got to be
Awesome.
an epic war? Why can't it just be a party
That's it.
that
And I'll bring the beans
so
and rice.
bring
I
the
bring the
rice,
black beans and rice, and you can bring the
I'll
chips
bring
and
the
salsa.
chips and salsa. So starseedsalsa@gmail.com. You can email me there. My website is starseedsalsa.com. Facebook, Shamballa Mario, Instagram, Blu-ray Bodhisattva. So those are the ways that I'm reachable.
Well, thank you so much. I will have all those linked below in the description below. And thank you again for being with me. And thank you everybody for sticking it out to the end. I love you very much, and see you again very soon.